Welcome back. It's 7:35. You're listening to me, Rachel Johnson, and we're talking about Plan B, which in my mind means Plan Booster. I think vaccines are the way through this winter, not more COVID restrictions such as working from home. And I'm going to get to your calls. David's going to be first on the line. But before we get to David, I want to talk to Charlie Mullins, the founder of Pimlico Plumbers, who's written a trenchant piece saying that working from home was a historic disaster, and that parents who work from home are setting a bad example to their children. Charlie Mullins, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on LBC this evening.
Yeah, good evening, Rachel, and thanks for having us on there. And rightly, as you said, you know, it's just destroying more generations of people. I think youngsters are just going to see their parents working from home. And it's just not the way to be going forward. I mean, you know, London wasn't built on by working from home. We're a great city and we need to get out in the workplace. And also you've got to remember there's a lot of mental health problems coming out of this. There's physical health. I mean, we can't work in one place. We interact with people, and that's what we need to do.
And what about the shift to working from home's effect on the economy from your perspective, Charlie Mullins?
Well, I mean, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, all these people keep coming up with, they're more productive at home. I mean, not going to say anything different, are they? But let's not kid anyone. The only thing that's more productive is, they get the gardening done, they wash the car, they get the washing done, they meet up with their friends. We have to get real here, and we have to get back to work and get the economy and get back to being the country we used to be. As I say, we wasn't built by sitting at home. We didn't have this great sort of city of London and all these fabulous buildings by sitting at home. We need to be real, get back in the workplace. And I have to say, I know a lot of listeners don't agree with me, but unfortunately they're wrong. The more people that stay at home, the more you're going to lose your job.
Yeah, and what about, let's not even talk about the billions it has cost the Treasury in paying out furlough, paying people to sit at home and not work, Charlie, but leaving furlough aside. What's your view as to how the supply chain crisis and the fact that every single sector of the economy is crying out for staff, how do you think that has been related to the fact that there's been this pivot to working from home? People just don't want to go out and do these jobs, do they?
Exactly it. They're starting to think that they're entitled to stay at home and be paid for it. And, this all comes from, I don't want to knock your brother, but, unfortunately, the government give people incentives to stay at home. We need to give people an incentive to go to work. That's what we've done at my company. We give them, £20 a day bonus, free meals, parking, and it worked. We got everybody into work, and that's what we need to do. You don't give people an incentive to stay at home. You give them an incentive to go to work. And so I'm not going to knock your brother, but I think at the time he played the only cards that he had. But now, we desperately need to get people back in the workplace.
And Charlie, just as a last thing, your reaction to the idea of Plan B, which is requesting people to work from home again? I mean, let's leave the face masks and the COVID passports out of it. What if the government actually now says you've got to work from home if you can? How will you feel?
Well, it's the wrong move. As I say, I'll go back to what I'm saying. You cannot get people to work from home. They're just going to feel they're entitled to stay at home and get the money. And we just got to break that sort of cycle that's happened. And look, it's a no-brainer, Rachel. I mean, I'll ask you a question. I mean, do you want to work from home or do you want to go back to the workplace?
Well, I'm in the studio now, and I have been all the way through every single lockdown. I came in every single time I did this show. So there we are. There you are. Charlie, that's brilliant. But lastly, if you were running the country, how would you get people? Okay, assuming there is not going to be a plan B, how would you get more people back into the office, back into the workplace, out of their home offices? Simple. Yeah.
You haven't got a job if you don't come to work. Simple. You signed the contract. You need to be in the workplace, and it's simple. You don't come into the office. You got no job. Simple as that.
Lovely. Charlie Mullins, thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Mr. Mullins, who founded Pimlico Plumbers.